questions. So, Coach, whenever you're ready, take it away.
Yeah. First thing about today, great day for athletic department. We had our graduation ceremony, and certainly proud of the guys that graduated. PJ and Josh Beadle got their undergrads, or getting their undergrads here soon, and let's see, Chase and Joe and Alex. There's one more, Boz. Yeah, Boz. Thank you. Boz are all getting their master's degrees, which is really good. Jack Clark, I think, got a certificate. So good day for that in terms of celebrating those accomplishments. Proud of our team. Again, terrific academic year for us in terms of guys graduating, GPAs, GSR numbers, all those things. And I think the athletic department, in fact, has 97% graduation rate, which is first in public schools in the country, which is remarkable. But you know, our folks do such a good job over there in Neary that they are to be commended. You know, more important, I think it speaks to the culture of Clemson, which is just an outstanding place to go to school and get an education. We're about the right things here, and certainly our basketball program is part of that. And in this crazy world with everything we got going on, it's still the value of an education is what this is about. We need to make sure that we are celebrating those victories. So really proud of our guys for that. Elite Eight run was fantastic. Just, you know, so proud of our players. We played really high level basketball in the tournament, all 3 games, beat some outstanding teams that were playing very well, you know, and had a chance to go to the Final Four, and had the lead in the game. And give Alabama a ton of credit. They just, the shot making in the game was outstanding, especially there was a point there in the second half where both teams were just really playing exceptionally well, and give their team credit for making a couple of big-time shots to pull away from us in the end. But I'm just really happy for our players. Obviously, PJ in particular, because of just the way he's approached it all, and all he's had to go through. Chase Hunter, another guy, those guys that have been with me so long, and obviously we're on last year's team that was left out. Chase just was outstanding in the tournament, played as well as he's ever played at Clemson, and just super happy for him. And then Joe Girard and Jack Clark, guys like that transferred in with the idea that this was going to be a special year, and that those guys were going to help us do that, and for them to be able to experience that was just a lot of fun. So, you know, I'm happy. There's a ton of positive momentum with our program. It started last year with the team that won 14 ACC games, and Hunter Tyson's leadership. I think that had gave this team a big boost of confidence, and you know, carried on through this season. So just really happy for our fan base too, to be able to enjoy that couple of weeks. It was awesome just to look back and see everybody celebrating back here. You know, really our heads were down. We were so daggone busy that it was hard to almost enjoy it at times. You just were working so hard, and even now still haven't been able to possibly enjoy it as much as I would like, but just tremendous accomplishments. Saw from Ben said that there's only 24 schools that have been to a Sweet 16 and an Elite Eight in the last, since 2018, whatever that is, 6 or 7 years, and we're one of them. So I think that, you know, somehow there's a narrative that needs to change a little bit with our program. We've done well. We've been talking about being top 5 in the league in wins over a 7-year period here now. Like it started at like 5 years, and it's 6 years, 7 years. Like we are winning consistently, and we've now had, you know, some tournament success to go with it. And so I do think that needs to be talked about a little bit more. And so I'm really proud of our players. I'm proud of my coaching staff for the job they did. Those guys, the last 2 years, they've had their backs against the wall, and have just done an unbelievable job of staying focused and motivated and coaching at a high level and pouring into our players, and obviously we've had a lot of success here recently, so we're excited about that, but I'm happy for my staff too. So with that, any questions for me?
I guess you talk about not being able to enjoy it enough. I think I've heard lots of coaches saying that April is just the worst month for you guys. What has it been like just kind of diving into the portal and trying to rebuild your team?
Yeah, it's a lot of work. You know, you have to meet with your team. Obviously, you get behind because you play so long, and the portal opens, 2 weeks earlier, so you're behind. And it's, while we tried to have one eye on the portal occasionally and still coaching our team, for the most part, I kept both eyes on our team and the tournament, and it just makes it really hard, because then you've got to kind of give everybody a week to take a break, and then which is much deserved, and then you start having player meetings, and then so you got to delve into all that, and then there's a lot that goes into all of those meetings, and there's more discussions with families and players, and so it just hasn't let up. You're gonna you're gonna lose some guys, you're gonna be down some numbers, and you're trying to do a good job of researching the guys that you need to research, that you want to add to your program, and you got to do a lot of work to do that. And so it's just constant phone calls and Zooms and meetings with people, and then trying to get into situations where you feel good enough about somebody to bring them on campus, give them an offer, and go from there. So it's we still need to add one or two more. So we're I don't even know what day it is. May 9th, 8th. Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of been head down and working most 6.5 days a week.
Was RJ surprising at all?
A little, yes. I'm not going to get into specifics with kids leaving. Just not going to do that. All the guys, there's different circumstances with everybody. I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to coach him and all the guys. He's a terrific young man, and wish all our guys the best. But yeah, you're obviously surprised by some more than others.
How much has the profile and the Elite Eight and all that helped with those conversations that you're talking about and trying to?
Yeah, I mean, it's helped some. There's no question that it's helped with recent success. Teams are more familiar with you from the standpoint, hey, yeah, we watched you play, and it's not the be all end all though. It doesn't. Everybody's going to study their situation, and there's so many factors involved in transfers. Winning is part of it. Playing time, NIL, facilities, just chance to play at the next level. Academics gets in there eventually, depending on the age of the kid. But it certainly has helped. We've had a lot of positive feedback, and people that have followed us, and when you start to dig in and when you have Zoom conversations with folks and you start putting recent success slides up there and you start matching it with some other people, folks are surprised, that we've done as well as we have. When you start adding the wins, and now you put a Sweet 16 in an Elite Eight and another tournament run just in the last 7 years. I mean, you're starting to separate yourself from a lot of folks, and people that you would be surprised.
Are you surprised by that lack of awareness or recognition? Because to say the fan base doesn't recognize it, but to see it amongst other teams and players and athletes and things like that.
This year's Elite Eight run puts us in another category. I mean, it changes the narrative. I mean, a Sweet 16 and an Elite, 2 Sweet 16s, an Elite Eight and a Sweet 16, whatever, just getting to those points. It hasn't been done at Clemson much at all, and to do it in this, close enough in this 6 or 7 year period to do it, you start to separate a lot of schools out. There's only 24, 5, I think, in our league. So that, with the consistency of regular season winning in the league, I think that's the one that people haven't paid much attention to. And there's a lot of teams that have a good year and then have a terrible year, and we just haven't had those years. We haven't always had we haven't won a league yet. That's still a goal. Certainly an ACC tournament, we have to do better. That's on me. But I mentioned, I don't know if it was last year or a couple years ago, I talked about taking Clemson to a Final Four, and that was my goal. And we were, minutes from it this year. In 2018, if we don't lose Dante Grantham, I think that team might be more talented than the team that we just had when they were healthy. Both teams could easily get there. Sometimes getting to the tournament can even prove to be more difficult than advancing. And there's a lot of things that can go into that. But, if you start to play really well, which we did, you build the momentum in basketball, and it really changes. And, what was so impressive about our run is the teams we beat. We beat the Mountain West champion we were number 1 on ESPN's list for upset in the NCAA tournament. And there were some articles that were written from folks in this room that weren't very flattering. There was a lot of people in this room were questioning us, which fine. And we won that game handily, and then beat Baylor, who was the 3 seed. Beat Arizona in the West. In Los Angeles, in front of about 15,000 Arizona fans. Those are big time wins now. So I'm just so proud of our players for playing as well as they did in the period they did, and for our whole school and fan base to be able to enjoy that was a lot of fun for all of us.
When Joseph Girard visited on campus last season, talked about how the camaraderie dealing with him.
Yeah.
Had spent time with the players and everything. With Jaden and Victor, was that kind of similar, or was that kind of different with PJ and Chase kind of not?
Yeah, I think it was, Victor was different. I think some of with Joe was just Joe having been in the league. I think Jaden, there was a respect with the league that helped, certainly in a familiarity. So I think that there's a natural, probably respect and kinship from having competed against each other. I told Jaden, don't be gloating when you come down here, because they pounded us good. But he was great, and we're excited for both those guys. Jaden and Victor, I think, are both good players that are going to have immediate impacts on our team. We need to get one more front court guy for sure that can do that. But we like both guys. They're experienced. They're both very competitive. And so they bring some toughness and some competitiveness that I think this team needs, losing PJ and Joe.
I guess going back to April, you talked about maybe moving the window back for you guys that are in the tournament. Are there any other things as coaches that you think can be done to make this month more manageable for that month, I guess?
Not the way it is now. No. The length of it, by going all the way to May, it's to shorten it. I don't think the portal needs to be as long as it is. I think kids know. And so now you're dragging it all out. It lasts longer. You're waiting. Then you get more coaches get surprised. We really didn't, knock wood, we didn't have any surprises at the last 2-3 days of the portal. That's happened to a lot of people. That part, the portal just doesn't need to be this open that long. That would shorten some of this. It's crazy because we made the decision to move the high school recruiting out of April and into May. I think it's May 17th or whatever. That's 2 weeks, or maybe it's not. It's next week. Good Lord. But there are very few coaches right now thinking about high school recruits, and that would have all been going on while we're all dealing with the portal, and that was a mess. it's been a mess for a couple years. We finally got that moved back, which will be better for everybody's focus on high school kids. But it's still too long, and it doesn't need to be 45 days. 30 days would be more than enough.
You mentioned NIL. I don't know if you've really fully sort of reflected on the importance of that to you guys, as using that not just now but in previous years as a pretty big part of your toolbox.
It's everybody's toolbox in men's basketball. I mean, and it's not just men's basketball; it's other sports too now.
Yeah, I'm just talking specific to this program.
Yep.
and how you guys have been able to use it to your advantage.
Yeah, I think in our sport, if you're not involved in that, and you're not fundraising, I'm doing a ton of fundraising, folks, and have been for 14 years. One of the reasons why we were in the Elite Eight is because of all the fundraising, friend raising, whatever you want to call it, for 14 years. It's one of the reasons why we have a facility it's much nicer than it was. It's filling those premium seats. It doesn't just happen with NIL. It happens with improving your facilities. It happens with donor retention. It happens with getting folks to buy into your program enough that when this was new, that our people were involved and engaged to be able to support the guys on our team, to be able to be ready for this opportunity when it did show up. We were there to meet it. And, you know, I do deserve a lot of credit for that. A lot. Because it's been a 14-year journey. And had we had a different coach or a newer young coach at the time, it wouldn't happen. There'd have been no chance. So, you know, that's obviously been a spot of mine, a little bit of a sore spot at times, because I think that's gone not as noticed as I would like. And obviously it's vital. I mean, in college basketball right now, NIL is a major factor in it.
How much do you have to tell them, like, what the number is going to be and stuff like that?
I don't get into all the specifics of that. There are rules that are involved with the collective and those kinds of things, but it's very involved as part of it's a tool that folks have to be successful. It's certainly something that folks are using to make decisions.
I guess, do you think people have a sense that Clemson is pro NIL and that you guys have those resources?
Guys, I think there's a mistake here, because maybe football doesn't come out this way with Coach Sweeney. There's some things going on with football that guys are getting NIL. The basketball thing that I can tell you is that any program at this level has got to have an NIL package for their players, or you can't be successful. So it's not just specific for Clemson. We're doing our part to try to do the best we can to make sure that our players are treated as well as they can be as also. Obviously there are limits in all of it. Like, there certainly are a lot of folks that are, it's not hard to figure out who's, some of the schools that are spending the most, you can easily see, and I mean, it's just not hard to figure that out if you study our sport.
Just, I guess, how daunting is it dealing with all these, with the transfer portal, with the potential high school recruiting, with
Yeah, it's really hard. It's hard.
How do you manage that?
Very hard. Roster management is extremely challenging. It has been for a couple years. Again, the most difficult part of all of this isn't the NIL as much as it is there's no sit out. When you transfer and you can just go play, then there's no deterrence, right? And so if everything isn't aligned, or if there can be one thing that makes somebody unhappy, they're gonna leave. And so that's a shame, because we're losing what we all want, which is fans want to see kids get better and develop, and they enjoy watching Hunter Tyson's and PJ Hall's grow as a player. I enjoy coaching young men and helping them develop both on and off the floor, building, long-lasting, deep relationships through adversity and the challenges that go with being a young player to a senior. Doesn't mean you still don't enjoy all of our transfers. We've had a lot of transfers here that have done very well, and I'm thankful for all of them and have long-lasting relationships with them. But you do miss that part of college sports because there just aren't going to be, the senior nights are getting different. You're not going to see as many kids that are in your program for 4 years and graduate, and that's sad. So understanding that, trying to plan, it's extremely hard to plan. What's our team going to look like in 25? What will our needs look like? Because it's almost 100% that somebody's going to surprise you and leave, and that part makes it really hard.
You mentioned before